Halloween
Forever.
Guys, do you guys know I used to work in a movie theater?
Oh, yeah?
Did you?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It didn't last long though. I left. I felt like everyone hated me.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a little surprising.
Yeah, I know. I was probably projecting.
Hey.
Boys and ghouls,
Hey.
welcome to another fucking episode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
Hey, guys, we are here. We're in person for the first time in nigh on
10 years. 10 years.
10 years today.
Mhm,
10
mhm,
years
It's our
this very
anniversary,
night.
guys.
Four score.
Yeah. Now, we have not recorded in person since before Thanksgiving on account of the holidays, and then everyone got the COVID.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So we are doing it finally in person here in the studio in Cryptercal, which I just remembered that's what we call this
Cryptercal. Still
periodically.
love that so much. That needs to be on a shirt.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
We
would
need to do some
definitely.
little IP theft. It's going to be great.
Yes.
Plenty of IP theft on TeePublic. It's all okay.
That's
And
true.
I have no problem with it.
IP theft doesn't exist in
Yeah.
public. But we are here. We got another fucking minisode for you. We got snacks. We got treats. We got beers. We got movies to
you
discuss.
guys got me, okay?
We got
You
Meg
guys
back
got me.
in
Meg's
person. Last week, Steve and I, unsupervised, things got out of hand. Lives were lost.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P.
Charges were filed. But we are back. The gang is back. And we've got some, I'm staring at some sweaty ass sausages that we're going to get after here in a second, which I did heat up, but are now very cold. So
I don't know. It's
Where's
still
your
pretty
hot plate?
condensed in there. And like,
it's
Don't worry, it'll
listen,
still
we'll
be
get
good
into
either
it.
way.
Well, we'll explain the sweaty meats here in a second. But we are also at some point after we get through all this chaos here that's in front of us, we are going to talk about is it brand new? I know it was just released.
it was made in 2020.
Okay.
Then released elsewhere 2021.
Gotcha.
But then I think it's now hitting kind of our video on demand because it is a international film. But
That
yes.
seems to be a huge trend, even for this month.
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
we were trying to figure out what movie to do this week, it seemed like a lot of stuff was like from 2020.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like now just being like, yes, here
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
Yes. And
Which
the
is
movie
great.
we're going to do, I should mention before I forget, is The Last Matinee.
Mm-hmm.
But even Steve and I, when we last week talked about kind of our 2021, wrap up favorite movies from the year, a lot of them were ones that were, released in
They were filmed,
2020
yeah.
or 2019 and then got delayed,
Mhm.
production got hung up or just didn't get released because there was no theatrical releases for like
Right.
anything in 2020 or 2021 that much. So, but in any case, we're going to talk about that. We got some damn beers. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go around the horn here first and talk about the beersies. Then we'll talk about our showdownsies.
Sure.
What's
Sure.
everybody drinking?
So, I passed off a beer to you. So I
Mhm.
took one of your beers.
Mhm.
I snacked up Burgers Brewing. How do you say that?
Cultivar.
Cultivar. It's an Italian style pilsner. And it's actually really nice. I genuinely always appreciate.
I feel like now
beers.
that you say that, I don't know if I'm having deja vu, but I feel like I drank it on the show before.
I don't remember you.
No, maybe I did
We've
because I
definitely
drink it all the
drank-
time.
Yeah,
though.
I'm like we drink
No,
their
I-
beers a lot too.
What
We've
we
talked about
drank
beers.
before was the Profundo.
Oh, potentially.
Yeah, because
From Hop Farm.
I was trying to remember the Profundo on Hop Nation this week.
I remember we're
Yeah.
doing Italian pilsies.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're comparing it all, like this one has a little bit more of a hop character. I don't know when this one was also packaged either, so I might have a little bit. I mean, it's still nice. It has a little bit of age to it, but it's it's pretty nice.
Yeah, that was a 4-pack I just grabbed the other day. But I do drink quite a bit of that. that beer.
Beautiful art.
It's also right up the damn road from my house. So
Have you
I
have you
just-
had
again-
the 11th Hour one that just came out as well? The
I-
Daisy Pills.
yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that?
it was good.
Yeah.
it was good.
I finally got that Bonch that you
The
mentioned.
Bonch beer,
Yeah,
yeah.
they had it at Carson Street Deli. Then I went there oddly twice within 2 weeks,
Mhm.
and they still had it on, and it was really, really nice.
Yeah, that one's an interesting one. I actually sent some to a buddy of mine out of state. It is it's essentially a cross between it's like a German take on a wit beer kind of.
Right.
Mhm.
With like a blend of Kolsch and I think they use a blend of Kolsch and wheat beer yeast because it's not like you can get like authentic Blanche beer yeast just from like, whatever yeast supplier. So, but yeah, it drinks real good. It almost reminds me of just like a super clean, drinkable wheat beer, like clean for a wheat beer, like Allagash White. Like it almost reminds me a little bit of that.
No, that's a great description. Yeah, everyone that I subsequently went with, they tried it too, and they really liked it. So shout out to those guys. And nope.
They do a nice one. I am also drinking a Pilsy. I am drinking the Standard, which is the Czech 12 degree from Notch Brewing, because that's all I fucking drink nowadays is Notch Brewing.
Actually, I think there's worse things to drink, you know?
You know what?
This one you were drinking last week.
That's true. I drank that one last week. And actually right before this, and there was a little bit in the glass when I dumped in, was the, I think it's called Here Comes a Local, or Here Comes a Regular? Hold on, I have another candidate. What is it called?
Here Comes a Spider?
Here Comes a Regular. It is their 8 degree Czech pale lager, and it is a balmy 2.9% ABV, but it's got a ton of body and it's fucking really good. And I could drink that forever. So between that and what was I drinking the other night?
Notch, sponsor us.
I know, get after it. They're from Salem. It's spooky as fuck there. I also had I was drinking a bunch of Neil from Burgers, his Doppelbock. I got a growler of the Doppelbock. I went in because he was like, "Oh, you got to go try it." I'm really pleased with it. I went in. He didn't can it. And I forgot my little growler, So I went in and they didn't have any little tiny guys, which is usually like a big ABV beer. I'm just going to get a little tiny guy. So I had to get a whole growler of Doppelbock. So
You're just asking your kids to drink that at that point.
At one point, it was like Thursday night. I'm like, drinking. And I'm like, whoa, I'm getting pretty buzzed. And there's half a growler left here. So it's a big boy.
Was it the same Doppelbock they made for... Barrel and Flow? Or
no,
that one was like hazelnut. Yeah.
No, this was just a real straightforward classic style Doppelbock. It was really nice. But it was cool. I don't know what the ABV was, but it was not a small beer.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do?
Garbage.
I'm already through it and it's bad.
Well, it's not that it's bad and it's not the brewery's fault. It's old beer. And I'm burning through old beer that I didn't. I just need to make room so I can go to vintage and restock with great stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking a Prairie lemon slice. And I'm not holding anything against them. It basically, at this point, though, it's over like 6 months old.
Yeah.
So it's to the point that it's a lemon sour beer, but it just tastes kind of like a flat home brew with a lactose in it.
Yuck.
So it's still drinkable and it's still fine.
Yeah.
It's not gross, but it's just like I'm not going to hold anything against them.
A shadow of its former self.
Yeah.
This is a total like Veer story, but I know every time you talk about vintage estates and we talk about Youngstown, because we have talked about there, I'm always like, go to West Side Bowl for the wings. But guys, I found a new wing place in Pittsburgh, and you guys need to go try.
What is it?
Bulldog Pub.
Ooh.
And they always have good beer. Morningside.
Okay.
They also always have a pretty good beer selection there too.
Fair enough.
Guys. All right. Back on track. Let's go.
Listen, I'm always down for a new wing spot.
I don't think wing talk is off track, really.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm looking at sweaty meats that we're going to consume here in a second. Goddamn. I usually where I get wings from around here is we have a Big Shot Bob's in Elwood, so we go to Big Shot Bob's. But man, now I'm craving some freaking wings.
It's so expensive
I used to live
anymore.
above a Big Shot Bob's, and that was
literally
dangerous
like the price
territory.
is so like the price of wings. Listen, guys, we're not talking supply chain here, but the price of wings are outrageous right now, guys. It's a problem. But here, you know what? I wish more people would do, and I know chicken has gone up in price just in general, but what Hollywood Gardens in Rochester used to
thighs.
do, the fucking thigh night.
The thighs.
Thighs are
Wait,
awesome.
What? Backtrack.
Hollywood Gardens in Rochester. I don't know if they still do.
It's not. It's not like the Rochester, like the nasally one in New York.
No,
we're talking about
This
PA.
PA's Rochester. That's like
Beaver County, Pennsylvania. Is fucking. They would do thigh night.
Yeah.
That's smart because thighs are always, they're even in the store, they're always cheaper.
Yeah. It used to be like $1 a thigh.
But like,
I don't know if it still is.
Is it like crispy shit or is it kind of like talk to me?
Skin's crispy. Yeah, they're really, really killer. And they did great sauces.
Yeah.
And some crazy ass sauces. Like, cause I'm kind of cut back on a little bit because my butt's ruined.
My tummy hurts.
My butt. my butt and my guts don't deal with the spices that much anymore. But I used to love just insanely spicy things. And they used to have like, I would go in there and the bartender was, this was when Brandon used to work there for a period of time.
Okay, yeah.
He was a brewer when they had the, what was the name of the brewery?
Brixton.
Brixton. Yeah, he was there. And
Is that still a brewery?
No, I
no.
think
They actually sold their stuff to Ultra Genius, I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say they went down, but I know Hollywood Gardens is still there. But they would go in, and I'd be like, "What sauce do you have?" And the guy would always be like, "I got some crazy shit I just whipped up in the back and bring it out." And I'd be like, "What's it called?" And he'd be like, "It's called Tears of Eternal Sadness." Like it would literally be shit like that.
They had one like the standard. Like super hot one that I used to get was just called Nihilist.
Nice.
It's fucking rules.
Yeah.
You're like, you're just gonna be sad after this.
And they
you're
are
just gonna
hot as
contemplate
fuck.
all of your entire life.
But they're good, and they're
Yeah.
like really creative sauces, and yeah.
I
cool.
love the Thai
Sweet.
curry ones they did.
Oh fuck,
Ooh,
those are so
that
fucking
disappointed
good.
me too.
Yeah,
All
thigh
right, I
night,
am so.
thighs.
Is it on a Thursday or a Tuesday?
It was a Wednesday.
Yeah, it used to be Wednesday.
Yeah.
No.
Because I remember,
Fucking up.
Malcolm and I used to, and Jack Smith, and we used to go down and just fucking munch some thighs. But guys, we're not talking about chickens. We're about to talk about our movie picks for February. February Showdown is right around the corner. And by that, I mean next week, which is kind of weird to think about because we're used to having them 5 Monday months here. But next week will be our February Showdown. For those of you who are new to the show or just don't pay attention, or maybe perhaps you're dumb and you don't have a good memory.
Maybe you've got Mementos disease and
Maybe
you don't
you're
remember.
a baby.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps you had suffered some sort of head injury. What we do is every month we do a Showdown episode. And what that means is we have a whole slew of topics that have been suggested to us by our listeners, our social media friends. We pick 3 of them. We put them on, we put them all on a wheel. We come up with 3 of them. Then we put them on the social medias on Instagram and Twitter. And then Yins help us pick one this month. It is horror comedy, which we were saying normally the one we think is going to run away with it doesn't. But this time it actually did.
Yeah.
Horror comedy destroyed. But we had a ton of people vote, which was really great. We had like 100 something
I feel
people
like
vote.
you were definitely trying to like dip in people's ears, be like, I want that big top.
Well, I was trying to do big top horror.
Yeah,
And I was
you
trying to push
wanted it
cars,
so
but-
bad. Yeah.
Um,
And everyone said, "Fuck you."
well, we do things that are against our own best interests.
Yeah.
Because of course horror comedy is going to be the popular one and probably going to get the most downloads too.
Right.
But we're like, yeah, clowns and cars.
Let's talk about killer cars where we can talk about weird Australian films.
We should have combined them and done killer clown cars.
Oh, okay. I don't know how many episodes we get out of that.
Yeah. I have this obscure anthology that is all about killer clown cars. No, but horror comedy ran away with it, but I'm not sad about because as we were talking about earlier, February blows. It's a piece of shit month. It's cold as fuck. I hate how there's just frozen ice on every surface of my home and driveway and everything I own. And also Valentine's Day blows. So
I think Steve's here to give you a shoulder to cry on, bud. Because like I'm like sad for you right now.
you listen.
I'm from Western New York. I fucking love
You
snow,
love the
bro.
snow. I don't hate the snow, but once February comes, I'm done with it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm over it.
You get malicious. About
I'm
it.
over it. I go outside. I light a cigarette. I just put it out on the snow. Just like, fuck you, snow. I'm out of here. So yeah, we need.
There's a horror movie all around that.
Yeah,
Probably.
It'd be a short.
Killer
it'd be a short.
Snow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be a short.
it's called Jack Frost's the greatest movie of all time, Meg. No, but we, Mr. Charles Band beat you to it. But we are going to bring a little laughter, a little levity to the absolute piece of shit month that is February by talking about horror comedies. And we are, in fact, prepared to discuss our picks right this very second. But before we do that, I'll remind you, if you care to help us choose our topics or you have suggestions for topics, go ahead and follow us on the social medias. Instagram and Twitter mostly is what we do. Meg has made empty promises in the past that she her eyebrows just shot to the ceiling when I said that. No, we
Painted them on today.
so
They're getting hot.
we've established this. I do the Instagram. What'd you say?
She said she painted them on extra high today to be extra judgy.
Extra pissed off. I actually shaved the middle, so mine aren't even connected, which is great. I usually have a unibrow.
So you're done doing cosplay of the guy from Night of the Creeps?
Yeah, or the Fugazi guitarist. Yeah. So I do the Instagram primarily. Steve typically does our Twitterings, and Meg
second week in a row.
Typically does the what the fuck's it called? TikToks. Because she's the only one who knows what TikTok is.
I have a lot more time on my hands, so let's see what happens.
We're getting wet and wild on the TikToks. But follow us. It's Halloween is Forever or Halloween is Forever Pod or whatever, wherever you go. Just search fucking Halloween is Forever. It's gonna pop up. It's got a little goddamn pumpkin on it. Or hit the link tree up.
It's an angry
You'll find it
too, because we're angry.
I'm mad
So
as fuck. I'm
fucking mad.
psyched up. I'm smelling sausage. It's like shark smelling blood in the water. All right, so let's talk about our picks.
Yeah, I'm super fucking hyped about mine. So I'm going with Psycho Goreman.
Yeah.
And like, this was a movie I went in completely blind, but I had people being like, watch it. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't rent it for whatever reason. They only had a buy option, and I do not regret buying it immediately. I don't think I've laughed so much in a movie, and as that was also so brutal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was like just like, ugh.
Yeah,
great.
I wanted to do a Psycho Goreman situation for Halloween, but it's just too much work. It was just
that's
like,
a lot of cosplay.
It's too much. But just so you could walk around and just say the lines.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I pissed myself when he was like, "I don't like honky boys." Right. He's like, "Or do I?" I'm like, I just love that fucking line. So good. And the crush that just gets turned into the brain. Just that for the one.
Yeah.
All right, we're not talking about the movie yet. It's so fucking fun.
Spoil it next week.
When I watched it, I rented it, and then as soon as I rented it, I immediately ordered it on DVD.
Nice,
because I really love that movie.
Do movies at all just because of like the lore of VHS come out on VHSs anymore?
Yeah, people do VHS releases.
I want to see that widespread. It's kind of like vinyls coming. Everyone's just like, you always have a vinyl release. I want a VHS release because I would get.
I think it's becoming a little bit more popular because obviously the nostalgic element of VHSs we were just talking about. I scored a copy of Halloween 3 today on VHS, which I lost my copy a while ago, and I'm looking at a lot of fucking movies on VHS that I do not watch because I have them on DVD. But there are enough dumbass idiots like me who will buy them that people are doing them now. Again,
collector culture is a thing.
So. Yeah. People like myself who like this morning, for example. No. Yes. Whenever it was earlier this week. Oh yeah, my kids had a 2-hour delay, and I've been going through all the Universal monster movies with my oldest, and she's like in love with it. She's all about it. But the Creature from the Black Lagoon is the only one I don't have on DVD. I only have it on VHS.
Yeah, same.
So we popped in on VHS, and she didn't really mind that much. But then my youngest daughter came down, walked out of bed. She came down and was like, "What's that sound? Why are there lines on the screen? This sucks." Like she was just.
They will never understand what it means to have a device that specifically rewinds VHS.
A little race car?
They thought that was wild.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I had to rewind it. It
cool.
blew their mind. It literally required like 10 minutes of explanation.
Do you have separate devices like a DVD and a VHS, or do you have the combo?
No, I have separate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because I had a VHS, my last VHS player, I slipped on some icy stairs, fell, broke it and my ribs.
Nice. Okay.
So I had
February claims another one.
Yeah, it was February 1st. No, but my so I had to buy a new one. I'd buy a new VCR for the first time in like.
I didn't know they made them separate because I always felt like the newer ones. I thought they made combos.
Well, I bought an old one.
Oh, okay.
I bought like a rebuilt old one.
Sure.
But to buy a new VCR in the box, like a good quality new VCR in the box, $350, $400.
Yeah. No
it's
doubt.
Wild.
Yeah.
Fucking wild. But anyway, I bought a rebuilt one that's it's worked just fine. But my kids were not. They were like, why do you why are we watching it like this? I can't hear. There's this buzzing, and I was like, Listen, it's
You'll
charm.
understand one day.
Pay extra for that charm. In any case, Steve, what are you picking for horror comedies?
The horror comedy that I'll be representing and presenting is Hell Baby.
Hell Baby.
Hell Baby.
Hell yeah, baby.
There's a hell and there's a baby. It's Hell Baby.
Yeah, I have. I know that I've watched this. I think that I was not paying attention while I was playing, or potentially under the influence of just a variety of substances.
Very possible.
And I do not remember it very well. So although I know it's not a first time watch, it might as well be a first time watch for me.
Sure, great.
Yeah. So excited to check it out.
It's an interesting watch, like, because it came out in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much an ensemble cast of, like, you have Kegel, Mike, and Key. You have Rod Corddry.
Did you say Kegel? Kegel.
I don't think I said Kegel.
Did he not say Kegel?
I don't think I said Kegel.
Kegel Michael Key.
But I might have.
Keegan, but I feel like there's a marketing opportunity here that we should talk
For
about
him,
on air.
yeah.
It's
Just
instructional videos.
There's just like weights with his face on it.
Kegel Michael Key.
I would buy it. This is it. I'd buy it.
Yeah, but it's an ensemble cast, and it's directed by Thomas Lennon and Robert Ben Grant, who most people know from Reno 911.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very funny movie.
Yeah.
It's also, but it actually has horror elements to it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's some decent jump scares that actually turn into laughs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very good horror comedy, but I think it's underrepresented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be, I don't remember, but I know it's going to be funny because those guys don't write things that aren't funny.
Right.
But even like some of the dumb fucking movies that they've been brought in, like as like script writers and script doctors on that are like kids movies and shit like that, they always tend to have some good laughs in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Guys, prepare yourself.
I'm bracing myself.
I am
putting a seatbelt on. Right now, let's go.
I'm going to 3-point harness. I'm picking the unsung hero of horror comedies.
I'm waiting.
And I don't even care if I win, guys, because it's that important to me to champion this movie. It is Gremlins 2: The New Batch.
He is actually wearing a Gremlins mask right now that no one can actually see.
I kind of feel like I spoiled the surprise with the mask of what I'm going to pick.
He also has the lipstick on, so
I also have giant balloons in my shirt. I'm dressed as a sexy gremlin. No,
he stole my shoes.
Fucking love. Don't you have a shirt with Greta Gremlin on it?
Yeah, I do. Definitely. Yeah.
I fucking love this movie. I was telling you guys a story earlier of the first time Kate, my wife, who was on a previous episode. I don't know why I always say my wife.
My wife.
My wife.
Jinx.
Yes. People know on the show.
You owe me a Borat? Can't do that.
people on the show, I think, know who Kate is by now because I talk about her all the time. And she was on an episode. Anyway, she had one of those things. She just never seen Gremlins.
Sure.
She knew kind of enough about it or whatever. And this was probably like 3 years ago. And we watched it. And we got to the point with the story about Phoebe Cates talking about the her dad getting stuck in the chimney and dying and stuff on Christmas Eve. And she was like, "What the fuck is this movie?" And we went through the whole thing, and she enjoyed it, but she was like, "That movie was batshit." And I was like, "Oh yes, you ate." So the very next night we watched Gremlins 2, and she was like, "I don't even think that was a movie. I think that you drugged me. I think we're dying of carbon monoxide poisoning. That's what just happened." But it's so fucking funny. I remember when the smart gremlin starts singing, she was like, what am I? Have I suffered a head injury? Like, what is
so? What you're saying is that we should all collectively either dose ourselves with weed or shrooms, and then just go into this movie and then make our decisions.
Yes,
I say no to that
because I win if that happens.
Right?
Yes,
I say watch it with a critical eye. Don't just
be sober as fuck.
Think
don't
about
just give over to drugs and then let him win. Because that movie goes with drugs.
It is. We were talking about doing.
Should I put some jelly on this peanut butter sandwich right before I have it?
Yeah, that's like we were saying. We were toying around with the idea of doing or suggesting a topic of doing like stoner horror.
Yeah.
I will, if we do that one, I'll pick this movie again. I don't even care. I'll just forfeit.
We should. I do want to just throw us out there that because I think I suggested 2 subgenres related to it, either movies to get high to or high horror, meaning like because the movie I suggested, they got fucked up and then shit went crazy. I mean, Midsummer might be that way too.
Yeah.
We need to figure out because I want to add this to the list. I think this would be great.
Those are they're 2 different things.
Yes.
Is it stoner horror?
Right.
Is it like horror about? Is it fucking Evil Bong, or is it Gremlins 2 or Mandy?
Yeah.
Where they're like one, and also not to get too granular on this, but there's a difference between like weed horror and acid horror. Like Mandy is like Mandy's like you're getting heavy. Yeah.
You need psychedelics.
Whereas fucking Uninvited is
I mean there's that there's the differentiation in metal as well. There's there's stoner metal, but then there's also just like psych acid metal as well. It's like it's all there.
So we're gonna get granular. We're just gonna do a whole spin-off podcast.
You know what we're gonna do is we're just gonna create the tree of the subgenres, like what Banger Films did for metal.
Or one of the icebergs.
The icebergs. How deep do you go?
Stoner horror iceberg.
What's the DMT movie?
At the bottom you're doing Boxer's Omen. In the middle. In the middle, you're doing, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Or something kind of in the middle.
It's not things that aren't necessarily horror, but like if you're high, they become horror.
Really horrifying. That's exactly. Have you ever seen that?
Which one?
Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
No.
Oh, you should watch that. It's also on YouTube. It's a web series. It's not a movie. But.
I do have a funny side story that I was like kind of mildly ruined my childhood. I just
ruined.
I just listened to the Will Smith.
You singed the hairs on your childhood. Just mildly ruined.
I just finished listening to the Will Smith memoir, and it's a great book. Honestly, amazing. Read it, listen to it. I don't care.
How much Men in Black?
How much Wild Wild West?
Scotch.
All right, I'm out.
Scotch. But he talks about that dude actually, and he had his first like ayahuasca trip, and he has subsequently done 14 ayahuasca trips.
Will Smith does ayahuasca?
Will Smith, motherfucker. Which I was just like, okay, cool. Sweet.
I would have thought that was like against some weird Scientology.
Well, he also doesn't drink or do like drugs or anything.
Yeah.
But he had someone
except for ayahuasca.
Like
except for the hardest
except for the one that makes you shit for 8 hours and then see God.
The screaming, vomiting root of the South America.
I was also like the moment I was like,
I don't do
felt
drugs.
Validated. I was like, give me ayahuasca now.
It's like I don't do drugs, but I just let that giant hornet from Mandy sting me once a week. Like that's a pretty big butt.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, back. Man, remember, I'm like doing good at veering us real fast.
Well, what has happened that Meg is the person keeping us all on track here? This is outrageous. All right, so that is what we're going to do for next week. We're going to do a little showdown. We're going to talk about those 3 movies. If you get a chance to look them up, to watch them, if you haven't, please do. It'll make it a whole lot more fun. So we've got, Meg, you explain because you know more about all this, this stuff.
So as I promised that around Christmas time when I would go back to my hometown, I would bring you all some delectable Swedish treats. So the spread today, which I probably should have gotten some lingonberry jelly, but I didn't. We have potato korv, which is just a Swedish sausage that has like spices that are specific to it, but it has potatoes in it as well. It's very delicious. We have cloudberry preserve as well as gooseberry preserve.
I love a gooseberry.
Yeah, and I brought some sourdough crackers as well for this. I'm excited for it. I fucking love this shit.
And then we have once again.
Oh my gosh! Okay,
returning our arch nemesis,
non-champs.
Here, tell us about this fucking thing. Here, I'll start cutting that out.
Cut that out. Okay, so my partner, he's from the Midwest, as we established a while ago. That oh my god, it
sausage
exploded.
Water all over myself.
Nice.
No, I just dropped it.
And his parents sent him basically a huge bag of these King Bangs, but Christmas edition. And so he has still been hell bent on us loving them.
Keep trying.
Yeah. we're all just like questioning everything. So we have that. And the only redeeming factor is it might be a little bit fresher, because that was one of our like
the
gripes.
package has already looks like it's been punched repeatedly. And I don't think that's something you or your partner did.
Keister stashed that on the way back from bumfuck Indiana or whatever.
I think that's part of QA as they leave the line. Somebody just at the end of the line goes bing, 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 and just punches them and throws them in a box.
They have a giant, speaking of, we were talking about clown movies. Speaking of that, they just have a giant comedically large clown punching.
That is fucking hilarious. Yeah, absolutely.
You're right, Brian. You're right, Brian. Originally, in the original times when the King Bing factory first opened, it was done manually, but it's been since automated out by a giant clown with punching gloves.
Yeah. The thing is, we both couldn't come up with the phrase boxing gloves.
Yeah,
I said punching things.
I have COVID brain. You have to leave me alone.
Oh man. All right, so I'm gonna grab a little bit of this and just kind of throw it out here for everyone.
So a lot of the times there's another jam that you'll often see served even with corp and stuff like that, and it's lingonberry.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought these two are like more unique for just in general that is offered at the shop.
Yeah, I think so. Because doesn't like IHOP have lingonberry?
Probably, and you can get it at IKEA. So
are these different? Should I be keeping them separate?
What
are these
the
different?
sausages?
No,
these are all same.
Yep, they're all the same.
Yeah, no, because I've definitely had lingonberry before. I don't think I've ever had cloudberry.
Yeah, so cloudberry is, I think, related to like raspberries. That's like a white raspberry.
Oh, they're the white raspberry.
Yeah, I've seen them at the store and went, that's propaganda.
So like there's a huge Swedish population in my hometown. So we actually have like a few markets that sell like Swedish related goods. So you'll always find like beef on wick with like kummelk rolls. You'll find again, yes, like I talked to you guys about the striped cookies and stuff like. I mean, these are obviously specifically Swedish, but we have markets that will sell korv. They'll sell like Swedish meatballs. They'll sell spices to make glögg. They'll sell jams and stuff like that. So a lot of this stuff you can buy at a few different markets in my hometown, which is always really nice, and I love it. And I still avoid the pickled herring because I almost bought for you guys pickled herring.
I love pickled herring. I creamed herring with pickled herring. I also have a little bit of the smoked oyster spread downstairs if anybody's feeling real froggy.
I've never had that, but I would probably try it because I don't usually eat a lot of that type of stuff.
Yeah, that definitely wouldn't like be an adverse thing for me. Like
no one in my house would try it.
Yeah, like Aldi now Aldi sells like salmon dip. I picked some of that up the other day. I was like, "Oh, that's so good."
Any type of fish dip. Whitefish spread, whitefish salad.
Yeah, yeah. I like the sausage. It reminds me of like Swedish meatballs in a way, and it's just. I don't want to say bland, but it's definitely not spiced.
It's light. Yeah,
it's light. That's the other thing. It's not like super.
It doesn't have like
dense.
Giant fennel or something intense on it.
Yeah, it's definitely white people food, but
there is usually involved like off spices. Like you'll have a little bit of allspice in there.
Okay.
And nutmeg.
I was gonna say there's something warming.
You gotta be careful with those. I used to eat those a lot, and I wasn't checking like what the fiber was on those. It's super high. There's a lot of fiber in those crackers, and they give you bad tummy.
Speaking of fiber, guys.
Yeah, look at that punched out turd that you fucking just dumped out of the package again.
Listen,
welcome back, Twin Bings.
So we're sitting here, we're enjoying some lovely sausages, we're enjoying some lovely preserves, and then you just take a shit on the cutting board.
Big old shit.
So are these? Are they all three the same?
Yeah,
absolutely,
it's all Christmas cordial. It's their.
You know what? You know what I will say. I do appreciate is it
cherry centers. Yes,
it didn't shit itself out of the package like the last. Remember the last
and
one?
Also,
and
the last one was crumbled all over.
Yeah, like this one didn't crumble.
This one seems fresher, if that's a thing.
I don't love the flavor, but yes, well, I don't love the flavor, but it's better than last time.
It definitely has that, artificial cherry type of flavor to it. which
I
is
need
not
to
bad.
chase us with Swedish food.
I don't dislike this as much as I dislike the ones in the past. The caramel one, if you remember,
Awful.
was a disaster.
Absolutely disaster.
This is not bad. I can deal with this.
The caramel one was a disaster because it just stuck in your mouth and stayed. You couldn't swallow it. You were just constantly chewing Twin Bing for the rest of your life.
It was not a cohesive snack.
Mm-mm.
I kind of wish we got this freshness out of that one. I definitely, like you said, I don't love the artificial cherry flavor.
Right.
But like if that was, I even love like chocolate covered cherries. If it had almost more of like that type of character to it, I would be like, fuck yeah.
That's not the worst thing I've ever had, but
It's still garbage.
There you go, Brent.
I wouldn't pay
We
money
tried
for
it.
it.
We
Wouldn't pay
only
money for it.
destroyed it.
Yeah. I'm not turning around on Twin Bings.
Here's
I don't
the-
want anybody to.
Think that you're a binger all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, not at all.
If you were looking at that on a shelf and you had the opportunity to have that or a chunky bar,
Mm-hmm.
you could go with a fucking chunky bar.
What's a chunky bar?
What now?
I don't know.
Have you never experienced
I don't know what you're
the
fucking talking
prince
about.
of candy bars?
Well, this apparently was the king of candy bars, and we fucking hated that.
A king of that's a travesty
Yeah.
to call that any type of royalty amongst candy bars.
That's the king
First of all,
of
it's not a candy bar; it's a loaf
Right.
or a flattened meatball of candy. A chunky bar is so quality. It's got peanuts. It's got raisins. It's a big old. It's some of the ones that it's just like a square, right?
Yeah,
And you snap it in. It's got 4 little kind of quadrants, if you will.
I like raisins. I like raisins in my candy.
Me
Call
too.
me a 70-year-old woman.
I like raisins
don't
in
care.
everything.
Yeah, I would prefer a raisin oatmeal cookie over a chocolate oatmeal cookie. Yeah, dog.
I'll take it an extra step and say I prefer oatmeal raisin over chocolate chip. Period.
Okay,
Sure.
well.
Yep. No, I think I would
we'll
be
stop
unless.
there.
Okay. My only.
I'm off the train.
My only
Steve just showing
caveat-
complete and utter just disgust with that
Yeah,
comment.
I'm off the train on that one.
My only caveat to that is that I actually think I like Nancy B's chocolate chip cookies a little bit more than their oatmeal cookie.
What's Nancy B? I don't know.
It's a company in the Homestead.
Oh, okay.
Like if you guys have not had them, I will bring them to you. At
I
some
have
point.
not, but I will.
They are hands down one of the best chocolate chip cookies. I'll get an oatmeal cookie and a chocolate chip cookie next time I see them.
Listen, you only got to ask me once, and I will eat all the fucking cookies.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of going through cookie withdrawal, like post-Christmas cookie withdrawal right now.
You're just dreaming about cookie tables.
We still have a few bags of cookies that Kate baked and like in the freezer, and we busted them out last week, and they lasted about 2 seconds because we were just inhaling them because I'm going through cookie withdrawal.
He's shaking over here.
While we're on the subject of snacks,
Yeah.
have you seen the apocalyptic news of how we're all going to die this year?
No.
Is
I'm
it because
excited.
of bridges falling or because of something else?
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Oh,
All
good.
right.
We will all be taken by diabetes this year as this month of February they are releasing Little Debbie ice cream.
Oh, I
Oh,
did see this.
wow. Wow.
Is
Is it like in one of those like Swiss Miss like type rolls? Because those
It's all
are
of it.
like
It's
dangerous.
No, it's not in one of those fun cakes. It's just pints of Little Debbie of all the flavors
I
of
did
the
see
cosmic
that.
brownie and the zebra cake and just
Fuck.
everything. Yeah.
I'm gonna die.
We're all
I fuck with
we're all
Little
in for
Debbie.
it.
All right, quick rapid fire. Favorite Little Debbie? Go.
Fudge round.
I would just say oatmeal cookie.
Yeah, the oatmeal
Yeah.
pies.
Yeah.
that's
Like I
probably mine, too.
literally I buy those and the wafer peanut butter things. Like
Nutty.
those are my two.
Oh well, guess what? Now it's ice cream, so now you
Oh,
die.
I
from
didn't know
that.
that was a Little Debbie. I thought of the oatmeal cookie because but
Yeah.
those are my two like sweet treats.
Yeah,
that
those
I
are both
find-
ice cream. You
Okay,
did.
Cool, sweet. Then I'm
So?
I'm okay. Cool.
Right
What
in
about
your
you,
will.
dude?
The oatmeal pies.
Yep.
And then probably a close second is a Swiss roll situation. I love a Swiss roll.
Yeah, I go
Jet.
fudge round oatmeal pie.
Yeah. Those are good too.
I did see they are releasing because I always get they're essentially zebra cakes, but they're just the seasonal variation on the seasonal cake. You know,
Seasonal cake.
That was inadvertent.
Free marketing.
Guys, seasonal cake. Send a check. But there's there's like the Christmas tree
Right,
one, stuff
right.
like that, and they had the Valentine's Day ones out the other day, and my move is I buy them, and the excuse is they're for the kids,
right?
But then I eat them all. But I withheld. I said, you know what? Give it a couple weeks, then I'll, because they're really the only good thing about Valentine's Day. And I'll repeat, it's a trash holiday.
Yeah.
Total piece of shit holiday.
Yep.
Hate it so much. But you get some good snacks. You get some good treats. You get things with chocolate that shouldn't have chocolate, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I love
things with cherry.
the cinnamon like heart things. Like I love that type of cinnamon flavor.
Yeah, me too.
It's like there's actually an ice cream. It's not Turkey Hill. It's the other one that's in the state. Oh my God. It's like whatever. There is like basically a Fireball ice cream that's like, but it's that type of cinnamon.
Yeah.
It's like hot
cream.
cinnamon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
I do like. I like a Fireball. I like a hot tamale.
fuck yeah.
Not my go-to necessarily, but I do appreciate them. And also, no one else in my house eats them. So, and I am a garbage can, human garbage can. So I think
we're
eat whatever
turning this
people
into a snack.
Yeah,
podcast.
I don't think it's a horror podcast anymore. To be honest with you,
It's always been a snack cast.
all right, let's
snack cast.
Yeah,
snack
it's always
cast.
been snack cast. Look, one day we will split it into the Patreon, and then you have to pay for the snack cast on its own.
It's just us.
People might get turned on by watching us eat food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen.
We will start.
You think I will deep throat this sausage? I will so fast.
We will start a little Debbie mukbang.
I'll be like, just deep throating the sausage. All right. So the movie that we are going to talk about today, which you guys watched just in the last couple days, right?
Yeah.
I watched it. Yeah, I watched it Wednesday or something like that. I watched it on Shudder, but I think it's released and streaming other places as well, right? The Last Matinee, which when I saw the poster, I didn't realize till I started it. This is a Uruguayan movie or Argentinian?
I thought you said Argent-
both.
Oh,
Both.
okay.
Okay.
It is. I think it is. Yeah. I think it might be produced and funded by both countries.
Gotcha.
So,
but it just released last year in the U.S. But yeah, I think just in VOD in general. But it released on Shudder this past week, so I think a lot of people are getting their first eyes on it. So
it also goes by the name Morir La Matinee.
Nice accent, bro.
Yeah, and then it's also called red screening some other places.
That's what I was looking for is red screening, because I saw a couple of posters with red screening.
Yeah.
Why am I struggling to find the name of the director?
I don't know. It's Maximilano Contenti.
There it is. Maximilano Contenti. Yes. For some reason, it didn't pop up on IMDb, but now I'm on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's see if there's any... I'm fairly confident in saying that this was his directorial debut.
I don't know that that's true.
If I recall looking at it,
I just don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
No, it's not. He's done other. He's directed other things. They may have just been like short films.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no.
Maybe his feature-length directorial debut, perhaps. I personally was not familiar with him, although I don't watch a ton of Uruguayan, Argentinian, although that's not true. I do. I can have a couple of movies I really like that are Argentinian films. But in any case, this one is pretty interesting because it kind of split the line a little bit between like very much a Western slasher, but super strong giallo vibes as well.
Yeah.
So much so that it literally has, the black gloved killer kind of thing.
Right.
Although it is not, I wouldn't necessarily, there's a whodunit element, and they definitely deliver some of the red herrings and things like that. But I should probably say, spoiler alert, we're going to spoil the hell out of this movie. But the killer, it's more of a slasher type killer.
Absolutely.
In that he has really like no relationship to anybody.
None.
Right.
He just has his own prerogative with like, obviously we'll hit into like what he's actually after.
So it's a whodunit. They almost like hint, nod. It's gonna like, it could be someone here. They have a couple of red herrings. They have the kind of, unstable movie watcher guy with the beard that kind of freaks out on the kids when they come in. You're like, wait, is it him? And then there's also like the creepy theater employee,
the theater usher,
who's a little bit creepy. It could be him, but it ends up
even possibly the dad who we're introduced to at the beginning of the film, who's the projectionist, and he leaves. So like, just the same way that old man that you mentioned who freaks out on the kids, he also leaves the theater.
Yeah.
So basically anybody who leaves the theater.
But I mean, if I remember correctly, like when we're introduced to the killer pretty quick, you know what I mean? And you kind of see his face mildly.
You do like a little bit.
I mean, so I don't. When I was going,
but you
through
wonder
it,
if he's a redhead. If that's a redhead.
I literally didn't think it was anyone that we had been in. Like I from my perspective.
Yeah.
But what I thought was like, because I think usually in these type of films, you're like, how does he have a tie to this theater? Why is he coming back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, we found out obviously there's no tie.
Yeah.
But I find it really interesting though, because I didn't get the red herring thing. Like I could see how you might want to try, but I didn't get that.
See, I'm on the same page as you, Meg, as that like I always thought it's the guy that we're introduced to at the very beginning that's the killer.
Sure.
But there's just like things that are written into the script that makes it look like the usher, or
absolutely.
Just the fact that those other guys leaving the theater makes them suspects, because then killing happens after they have already left.
Yeah, I think maybe I didn't, because I felt like I saw more of his face than I like you normally would.
Right.
Because I feel like you would have literally cut it off at the neck. You would have not seen anything.
The way I took it, and let me I'll set it up here first. You get this scene very, very early on, before you even really go into the theater, of this nameless, only partial, like obstructed face view of this kind of guy who seems to be sitting in his car and plotting in some capacity,
like a drifter.
Yes, he's just hanging out. He's kind of eyeing everybody up. He's eating weird pickles. Steve Texan was like, "Oh, weird pickle shit. I'm on board." Like right off the bat.
I immediately kind of empathized with him. I was like, "That's exactly how I eat pickles. Full fist into the jar. Let's fucking go." Yeah, bro.
He's just
the amount of times I've had to go to the emergency room for stitches because I jammed my hand so violently into a pickle jar. But yeah, he's kind of creeping outside. And then you don't see him for a while. You get introduced to a couple different kind of parties here. One is a group of young people who are getting ready to go into said matinee. There's 3 of them. They're kind of, drinking some vodka. They're just like kind of normal kids, just kind of getting fucked up and going to the movies kind of thing, right?
I think the movie did a great job. That was one of my notes. I think they did a good job introducing everyone.
Yeah, and make you care about them, really, without giving crazy backstory.
Right.
You've got these 3 friends. They've obviously been friends for a long time. You get a feeling for the dynamic of their relationship pretty early on. And then you get introduced to this kind of separate line of characters, which is a young, adolescent teenage girl and her father. She is a college student. She's studying for a big exam. Her father is the projectionist at the theater. She's worried about his health and him working himself too hard. He's obviously has some health issues. He's coughing, blah, blah, blah. And then she's basically like, go home. I'll run the projector. And he's like, no, I only know how. No, I've been seeing you do it your whole life. I have studying to do. I'll sit, run the projector, study, you go home kind of thing. So you get these 2 kind of competing, or not competing, but these 2 kind of parallel path stories. But then, the way I took it was the guy at the beginning, I thought it was like, let's show you a creepy guy hanging around outside, so you think he's going to be the killer, but then it ends up being somebody who's more inside, an inside job kind of thing. But
did you guys get mild? I know you did last summer vibes from this killer.
A little bit
because of the doesn't he have he's like a raincoat on
he's
at
a
some
rain
point.
slicker, but I know that was just like one of my initial thoughts. I was like,
but it's also just
it takes its own turn.
It takes its own turn. It's also just its own trope of just, we mentioned like the giallo films of like it's always just like dark clothing of some sort, because Brian, we talked about it last week, Malignant.
Yeah.
It's basically the same getup of just like a black rain slicker. It's like, that's why I was so excited to talk about the film, because I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, this is just another kind of Malignant giallo, like homage.
It's weird that they always do, but I think it even added some like giallo elements to it. So
for sure, there's a lot.
There's a lot of other giallo.
A love letter to giallo films.
Yes, very much so. But the violence, the kind of berserker mode, gore part of it, is definitely influenced by Western slashers,
right?
In a lot of ways.
And the fact, like you said, the killer has no ties to anybody in the theater.
He just showed up to fuck people up,
right?
Yeah. Some of the and we won't go through the plot step by step or anything like that. But one of the things I really really liked about it was they set up so they have the three friends, the teenagers sitting up in the in the balcony, kind of carrying on doing whatever they're doing, and the one of them is very much set up as, in a lot of ways, one of the two protagonists of the film. And he's talking about how he saw this, woman on the bus on the way there. She got off the bus a stop before, but still ended up in the same theater. And he was, he's kind of, shot by Cupid's arrow kind of thing. Love at first sight. This is destiny. And they're making fun of him. Him and his two other friends are kind of making fun of him.
His Jonah Hill-esque friend there.
Yeah, there's
I do not appreciate that character.
Really?
I do not appreciate the fat kid with glasses being named Steve. That wasn't I'm not into that.
I didn't even realize his name was Steve.
His name is Esteban, which is the Steve of Spanish.
Okay, gotcha. And then there was, his other friend, she's kind of rooting for him a little bit, trying to build him up. And then the other
she's
friend,
being a little sarcastic,
She is a little bit. She's definitely she's the Raphael of the group.
She's also drunk.
She's cool.
She's
wasted. Hammered.
She's like, go do that.
She's slamming a pint of whiskey.
Yeah.
Or I mean, vodka. And she is, she's cool but rude. So she's definitely the Raph of the party. But she is more supportive, and not that Steve isn't. It's more Esteban isn't. It's more. He's just a little bit more like, he's
there to watch the movie.
Don't step out. Yeah, don't step out. I'm just, exactly. Don't step out of your comfort zone. Don't embarrass yourself, because he wants to approach this girl who he has assumed has been stood up because she's there by herself. Whatever. Turns out that is the case. He goes down, talks to her. They start hitting it off right off the bat. They end up making out remarkably quickly.
Yeah.
I can echo this rule of thumb for everyone out there.
Yeah.
Just don't immediately make out with someone. Just like when you first meet them. Like, just don't do it. It doesn't usually turn out well.
You
take it slow.
Almost always get shish kebab through the eye.
10 out of 10 times.
Which is
in one way or another. Shish kebab through the heart, shish kebab through the mouth. I don't fucking care.
Somebody's getting shish kebab.
So here's my theory on this as to why they start making out so quickly. They start to film with the three teenagers outside of the theater.
Yeah.
And they're, getting drunk, ready to go into the theater. Talking about this girl who looks like Brooke Shields.
Yeah.
And she got off the stop before them.
Right.
But she somehow arrives to the theater after them.
Yes.
What was she doing in that time? Getting drunk at a bar, waiting for her date. So she's drunk.
Gotcha.
They don't know, but, and then everybody's drunk in this theater.
Yes.
Just everybody's drunk in the theater except for the kid.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they're all partying
so this
a little
movie's
bit.
just all about alcoholism is really what we're coming out.
Yes.
Normally the drunken hookup doesn't happen at the matinee.
No, it's like
but
later.
But they
it was pretty
usually
secluded. You probably felt like you're at your house if you're that wasted and that alone. Because there were like 100 seats available around everyone.
I have been just absolutely hammered ass drunk in a movie theater before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So listen, when I saw Mandy, I was like blasted ass drunk.
Hollywood theater is a thing, which is absolutely different from Hollywood Gardens.
Yeah, that's true.
but Hollywood theater was a BYOB theater.
I almost think there's an argument that this was one of those like porno theaters, because we had jerking off going, we had making out going. There was a lot of sneaking around.
There was it definitely had a sleazy what's the word? Like I want to say Skid Row kind of thing. But
there's a dilapidation to it, and I think it's because like the name of it's the opera cinema.
Yeah.
So it in the way it's set up, there is an obvious stage. So it started as like a classical theater that has been transformed into a movie theater as well. So
they're playing old movies. They're playing, and I actually I don't know if I read this or something online, but The guy who plays the killer, I believe,
yes,
is a director of the movie that they're showing on the screen during the movie.
I was curious if that was an actual movie
it
or
is,
not.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because
it didn't look good though. I don't really want to watch it.
No, it's some sort of like low budget Frankenstein thing or whatever.
I think it's a film like he directed. I don't know the full history of it, but obviously like the film is in English.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's something that was just low budget that he directed for probably like Uncorked Media or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Something like that. Sure. Gravitas Ventures.
But I was kind of sad that he brought in Frankenstein's name for that. You know what I mean? Like I was like, come on.
But I think it adds to the film though, because usually in that situation you just take something that's public domain. So like they would play Nosferatu or Night of the Living Dead on screen. Yeah. But I think it adds playing something that you don't recognize, even though it's anachronistic, because they say the film occurs in 1993, but Frankenstein Day of the Beast didn't come out until 2011.
Come on.
How dare you?
I changed my mind on this movie. It's a piece of shit. No, so the thing that you get that kind of like, because it's just kind of the silly, kind of thing, and then all of a sudden the masked black gloved killer comes up with it was some sort of like it was almost like a fire poker, but it wasn't. It was something I remember him taking it from somewhere.
It was that door.
It was a hook.
The rod
it was like
thing.
a shutter door, and then he broke off the shutter hook, and then like made a fire poker. Yeah. But like at this point, he'd already killed people too.
Mm-hmm. That's true, because he had killed the usher guy.
He killed the usher guy, and he killed an old guy in his seat.
Yeah.
Oh yes, he did kill the old guy in his seat.
And like he's been timing his kills with kills that are happening in the movie on screen.
Yeah.
So like it sounds,
I really thought
that was kind of cool though.
Yeah, it was it was an Andy Dufresne-ish type move there, where he's waiting for the thunder to strike, or the lightning to strike, or whatever. But yeah, I thought the whole time, who I thought the killer was the awkward guy on the blind date. That gets the HJ on his seat. The perhaps unwanted HJ. I'm not sure. he was.
It was a like tentative HJ.
Tentative is better, because she did say, "Do you want me to keep going?" And he was like, "Yes."
He was like,
well, she definitely finished.
Oh,
he finished.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes. You saw that. It
all finishes at the same time. You get a lovely mix of blood, pee, and cum all at the same time.
Yeah.
Trifecta is what we call that.
It's a trifecta because the young couple is making out.
Yeah.
This other couple that's in the theater, he finishes his hand job.
Yeah.
And then there's a young boy by himself, like pissing his pants.
Yeah. And what was his, how do you say it? Murciano or Murciani or Murciano, something like that.
Which
the
one?
Usher, like, because he was the one that's like whose like blood he ended up getting on him and stuff like that. He had died right before that.
Yeah. That was out. He was outside smoking or something, right?
Which I was like, that character kind of like skeezed me out quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But even when he came in to have that woman who was on the blind date put out her cigarette, and she's like, "I'm trying to quit," and I was like, "Yeah, me too, bro." And then you went and had a cigarette. I get you. I got you, bro.
Well, I like the fact. One of my favorite lines was when he came up and he wasn't taking any of the cues from the woman up in the projector box who was studying, and he's just like, yeah, just reading the paper, talking about horoscopes and stuff like that. And she's
What's
like,
his sign?
Yeah. And then he walks outside. He's like, well, fine. If you're going to work here, you got to learn to, appreciate. I'm going to go somewhere where somebody will appreciate my work. I'm going to go sleep in the theater or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So
he just wanted people like I feel like he had this ego about him that he was like, you gotta be friends with me to survive around here,
right?
Yeah.
And you gotta talk to me. No, bro, you sound desperate as
he was 100% just murder fodder. Like that character, you knew he was gonna die right away.
And she totally just goes, "I have better things to do. This is one day only."
Yeah,
like
I feel like she almost tried to be like, okay, like when he said that last comment, because her dad works there. But I was still like, come on, no, this dude's a piece of shit. Tell me what the fuck. And I like how she locked the door. She knew he's a piece of shit.
He was a pincushion. He was.
Are you sure you're not a Virgo? You know those people. Fuck off.
So things progress. It's very much a like I said, masked-ish killer type situation. Mm-hmm. He's kind of working his way through, killing people. He ultimately, the guy who gets the tentative HJ goes outside, slips in some blood. And then how does he die? I'm trying to remember.
He is killed on the turret.
Yes. I was gonna say I know he gets killed when he goes to the bathroom, but I can't remember what happens. But yes, he gets Scream 2-ish almost.
More or less, yeah.
And then ultimately, we'll kind of fast forward a little bit.
I had a note about that because it really cracks me up. I felt like when he initially met the killer, I feel like he went from 0 to 60 sweating in that almost Key and Peele style.
Yeah, he went flop sweat real fast. Yeah,
I was just like, oh, that's like, it somehow jumped out to me so much. But yeah,
because he's, first of all, he comes out and he's got splooge all over him, and then he slips in some blood, falls down, and he's just a mess. And and then he comes up, he's like all nervous, and then the girl who's running the projection booth, he's like, where's the bathroom? And she's like, it's like literally right beside him, kind of thing. So again, at that point, you knew he was going to get it as well. And then you come to realize throughout the course of these kills that this murderer, he's got a penchant for plucking out folks' eyeballs.
Yeah,
that's a big move that he does. Which after watching Possessor, literally the night before, the unrated version, I was getting a lot of eyeball stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of eyeball stuff.
Maybe it was like my mistake. I didn't really catch the eyeball thing. So even in that first kill where you could definitely see him going through the face, I didn't realize that's what he was doing. I think for a minute, and then it took me a while.
Well, and later on they show when they start discovering victims, their eyes are all gone.
Right.
Too. Which you really kind of obviously get it there, but
yeah.
He is credited with probably the best name I've ever seen in the credits.
What was it? I didn't miss
His name is Asesino Come Ojos.
What does that mean?
Which is assassin eat eyes.
That is definitely what he is.
That is an extremely literal definition.
I mean, it may be better translated as, the eye-eating killer or whatever, but it is
that might be
word for word, assassin eat eyes.
I feel like a great costume interpretation of that would be is to wear a trench coat around, a black one, with a bunch, and you just open it up, you have a bunch of eyeballs hanging out of your jacket.
Yeah. There's a lot of
pickles.
Not only is he so you learn that he is eating pickled eyeballs from this jar of brine that he's carrying around. And then you think back, and of course, the thing that he was eating, which at the beginning I was like, is that like a pickled quail egg or something?
It was an olive.
I thought it was an olive too.
Yeah. And then Sorry, I'm so bougie. I went right to pickled quail egg. But
yeah, that's real bougie, Brian. What the hell?
I don't know. Because it was so soft. I don't know. Anyway, so he's you realize that what he has been eating out of this jar are pickled eyeballs.
Yeah.
He also then,
that sounds even like a next level bouginess. Like, I want to go to his party and just
pickled
see
eyeballs.
What does that mean?
That's like the group of people from Eyes Wide Shut or something. They eat.
That's a real Temple
eyeball.
of Doom delicacy. That's what that is.
Yeah. It's like I imagine it on like a crostini with some caviar.
I don't know. Again, taking it off track. The only thing I had to dissect in school that ever freaked me out was an eyeball. Like, I couldn't do it.
I never had to do an
the
eyeball.
lamb eyeball, weird, like grossed me the fuck out.
I did do a cat.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did a fetal pig maybe, but yeah, the eyeball.
No, we didn't do a pig. We did frogs. We did sharks. That was the grossest one because they stunk so bad, little sharks. And we'd do a cat.
Huh.
Interesting.
I paid a kid named Dusty Donnie $15.
Dusty Donnie.
Dusty Donnie. I
Such
paid him $15. Me and my lab partner, and he skinned our cat for us because he had to skin the cat. It was gross.
What?
And Dusty Donnie for $15 skinned it all one piece.
Oh my God.
Thank God
Dusty Donnie's
that
first
story
one.
went where it was. I understand that's a very gross thing for Meg to just hear. Yeah. I thought you were about to say you paid him $15 to eat something.
So I'll say a real gross one. Someone else in the class, no, I'm sorry, was not in our class, but was in taking the same class, but in a different period. He paid somebody or was paid by somebody, I forget. One of the cats was pregnant.
Oh.
And he put one of the cat fetuses in his mouth.
No, he did.
Yeah, he fucking did.
I believe it.
He did fucking do that.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Oh, poor babies.
Poor babies.
So,
babies.
when you pick your cats in class. They assign you a cat, or you pick
You know
them.
what? For
You
all
try
these
to avoid the pregnant ones.
You know, for all these like anti-abortion folks, I'm like, just send them a picture of that kid with that in his mouth. You know.
Yeah, I know this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were better off without him.
Right.
I know this kid.
You were all anti-abortion. Now look what he's doing. He's eating cat babies.
He's eating cat babies.
That might actually be like fuel for the fire.
Yeah, I actually don't know which way that sends people. I think it makes whoever is on whatever side cross the other side.
I wonder if kids nowadays because I was probably in like 9th or 10th grade, I would guess. I wonder if kids nowadays have to do that shit.
You think they're just too sensitive?
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I mean, you definitely.
Schools
once
don't
you
have
get
the
for
money.
college, though,
Yeah,
I mean,
perhaps.
if you do anything biology related, you have to do. You know, like
You have to do something.
Right.
But
Yeah.
cats, I thought, was just like,
that's
don't
little.
pick a thing that people have for pets. You
Right.
know what I mean?
I also
Yeah.
question like what kind of school you went to, because I mean those would probably be expensive. Like you had sharks and cats. Like
Yeah, sharks is wild.
I mean, we didn't go to like we went to a little
fetuses
country ass
and
school.
lamb eyes.
Yeah, we went to like a little country ass school.
Where'd you guys get sharks from? That's the only one, like, because I feel like I'm pretty sure my school had pigs,
Yeah.
and I just wouldn't be surprised if they just got them from the farms that were local.
Yeah.
So
There has
I
to
don't
be a
know.
supplier.
We had little baby sharks or whatever species of small little sharks. They were like as big as like a catfish,
Yeah.
but they were sharks.
mhm.
That was the worst because they stunk so bad.
Yeah.
So we used to do the old,
Oh yeah.
what's the
something
stuff you
like,
put under your
Oh
nose?
yeah, like
Like
Vicks
amidst
Vapor.
the-
yeah,
Vicks,
we
yeah.
put Vicks Vapor Rub under our nose. All right, guys, back on track.
Back to Comey
Eyeball
Ojos.
stuff.
I thought I'd be. What I was really getting at is like I thought I'd be more freaked out by him officially eating an eyeball, but I was
Yeah.
like, okay, let's don't love this, but I'm okay.
I think I think he liked it so much that I was like, you know what? Do your thing, bro.
Yeah, he was too into it.
He really liked it. He made it look like
More
he
power
liked it. I'm
to
like,
ya, bro.
he liked it. It must be good.
Yeah.
Now, if it was like someone being forced to eat an eyeball against their will, that
That's
would
gross.
be gross.
Yeah, that's
But this
gross.
dude was like, licking his fingies.
Yeah, but I just still remember it would pop as soon as it got in your mouth.
Yeah.
You'd get splooge in the back of your throat.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys haven't experienced that, then
Listen, who among us has? But I
Sometimes
love
you make-
fish eggs. Like I love things that I love the texture of caviar. Any type of
Okay.
roe, fish eggs, I love that popping kind of sensation. So I
Right.
don't think that would be a deterrent from me. I think it would be the cannibalism.
Yeah. Do you guys
Yeah.
remember?
this could be a cannibalism.
Do you guys remember the gum that was from like the 90s? It wasn't Gushers, but it was like a gum
that like
that
yeah
had like
burst?
syrup in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No,
it
I
had
don't
like
remember
a burst
gum.
of
I
syrup.
definitely had it.
Yeah, because it was hard, and then
Right.
you bit down on it and made goosh.
Yeah.
It made a goosh.
made goosh.
It made it a
I
goosh.
don't think it would be as
Why-
delicious
you
as
kinda
that.
went like Greek or
Yeah,
Italian.
a
You
little
make
goosh.
it a goosh.
Well, we're talking giallo film. And make it a little goosh.
You're not seeing Steve's hand gestures either when he's doing this.
A little goosh.
Yeah, it was it was definitely a gross out scene there. When finally they're presented with the reality of like, here's the killer.
Mm.
There's a pretty good, I thought, moderately realistic for like a slasher film type of thing. Fight scene, struggle scene between a couple of people. The Esteban dies. He gets pretty brutally stabbed, which was kind of reminiscent of that early scene in the remake of Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Yeah.
It was like pretty brutal.
Yeah.
And then the only people that get away for the time being was the other friend, the female teenage friend, and the projectionist
Right.
Mhm.
girl.
And then
Tomas.
and the little boy.
Yeah. And Tomas, who we didn't bring it up. There's a kid in the theater by himself, just like jamming candy in his mouth.
He is going to be traumatized. I think I walked away being like, that kid is
Yeah,
traumatized
yeah.
as fuck.
Yeah,
Not
he's just
only
by
by
himself.
the movie,
Yeah.
but also by this murder.
Yeah, and you're seeing him. He's really the only one that's kind of like paying attention to the movie. Him and I guess the guy on the date who has already departed. But so there is a couple of scenes where the killer goes after him and you're like, are they going to kill the kid or not? So they throw that element in that a lot of movies do. It's like, are you going to kill the kid or not?
Mhm.
That's almost, there should be almost like a subgenre of horror called "Are you gonna kill a kid?"
Yeah.
because that's a thing.
Well, yeah,
all the
because
time.
isn't it like I feel like I always hear like even if a kid does die, like you don't ever see it on film.
Typically,
and it's like
rarely.
when you do, it's just like bad. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I don't know. Like I feel like I don't know how this would have gone if he did die though.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna for a sec.
Yeah, I thought they might have, but like I feel like the only films that like come to memory of like where you see a kid like really die on film is like those Uwe Boll films. I think one of them.
I have not delved into many of them.
They're fucking awful.
Yeah.
What is it
They're
called?
so great.
So he's like widely considered to be the absolute worst director of all time.
Yes,
Oh.
purposely.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, his whole thing is I make absolutely terrible movies.
He
Okay.
makes dog shit films as German tax shelters,
Oh.
and then I don't even know that he really makes any anymore, but like he would take video games and adapt them into films.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And one of the ones he did was Postal. And like I believe there's an extended scene where it's just like a mass shooter like gunning down kids. And it's presented comedically, but it's definitely kids with squibs going off.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, he's just it's a rabbit hole of especially on YouTube that you can go down and kind of see how horrible all of his fucking movies are. But so ultimately there's kind of a chase type situation, and like I said, I wouldn't say it doesn't. It ended fairly predictably. I would say.
Yeah. I wasn't upset with how predictable this film was.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a warm blanket.
Yeah.
Just in the way, but it's everything else around it is done so well.
Yeah.
I would actually put it as like it was a warm blanket covered in blood.
A little
Yes.
bit, yeah.
You know,
It's
like,
warm because of the body temperature of the person that was murdered. Their blood
Yeah,
has to maintain
absolutely.
that temperature.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very much
but
so.
like everything else around it, like the music is so fantastic.
I
Really
really
good
liked it too.
music.
Yeah.
The string strains.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, at the very beginning, you get like those very deep cello notes,
Mm-hmm.
which is like whoa, and then
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
introduced to the eye eater.
Yeah.
And then later as the film progresses, like the strings get higher and they get more distorted and pulled in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. And then the color palette is amazing as well.
It really interesting, and I love that they did a great job of creating the atmosphere of this kind of retro time in a grimy theater a little bit. Like it felt like that was kind of like smoky, even though apparently no one was allowed to smoke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just like you feel like the floors are sticky.
Right.
You know what I mean when you see it.
I also feel like with the cinematography, they made it seem like a bigger space because how many rooms were we actually in throughout this whole?
Oh, yeah,
you know
for
what
sure.
I mean?
It's-
I think they did a great job, like making it feel like not so confined,
Yeah.
like throughout the whole movie.
You had that little like lobby scene, and then ultimately, and we kind of jumped past it, but it is fairly. I mean, it's a fine scene, but eventually, the person who you think is going to kill the big baddie kills the big baddie,
Right.
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
Kind of shish kebabs him type of thing.
Yeah.
As he did to some of his victims.
Is this like just a new subgenre? We're gonna call it shish kebab horror.
Shish kebabbing.
'Cause I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah.
like
Kebabbing.
what all.
Yeah, I think it's a Pornhub category too. Shish kebabbing.
Yes.
But it's like she just stabs him through the back kind of thing.
Yeah.
So nothing too terribly surprising, but like the guy was genuinely creepy. The effects are good
Right.
across the board. The acting is I thought pretty strong for the most part.
Yeah.
There's like some levity elements that you need in a slasher film. But the whole thing felt I think the thing I was most impressed about is the whole thing felt like a Western slasher.
Mhm.
I never felt like that's not what I was watching.
Right.
But it definitely had this kind of European 80s film sensibility.
Yeah, and just to jump, like I was talking about, like the color palette they work with.
Mhm.
I think one of the things that they do really well is like strong primary colors,
Mhm.
especially red. But
Yeah.
like you see a strong yellow when the cum pants gets killed in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Like all the bathroom doors are that strong primary yellow. But like the use of red is amazing because it increases throughout the film.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So you get like the first like bit of primary red when Tomas and the killer run into each other on the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and he hands over the gumball.
Mm-hmm.
And the gumball is
when he spills all the gumball.
Tomas on that stair. I think it was
Is
another
it just a kid?
I think it's another kid.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. He hands over the gumball, and it's just like a harbinger of like the red. Yeah.
I was also gonna say too. I think the same vein. I think that was also one of those things because of how it ends with all the eyeballs on the stairs. Mm-hmm. There was some sort of connection between the two. Like I don't have the vocabulary to really explain that, but I saw this like this could happen later, and especially
a foreshadowing, a symbolic foreshadowing, if you will, of like
because it starts with that kid dropping the gumballs, and it ends with him dropping his jar of eyeballs. So
there's going to be some damn unsavory balls on the ground at some point, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he eventually, because he, like I said, he carries eyeballs around in a pickle jar. As one does.
Well, where else would you put them, really?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Put them in your pocket?
Yeah,
it's gonna be seeping through.
You gonna carry them around an egg, like an egg
full of eyeballs.
Too unwieldy.
No, come on.
You'll get mushed.
But overall, super, beyond competently made film.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a story that I think if you read it on paper wouldn't blow you away, but it just put it together in a really fun, cohesive, comfort type of movie with some legit, like, I don't want to say scares necessarily, but some legit creepy, effective stuff.
Yeah.
To make a mild joke out of this, I feel like they made an entire movie out of the first scene of Scream 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for not so over the top that you're like...
Except nobody dies like Jada Pinkett.
Yeah. Nobody goes... In your defense... in its defense, nobody has ever died like Jada Pinkett.
No. But I will say, though, that the projectionist daughter, though...
Bugs Bunny, perhaps.
Her stabbing was a little bit... Like, I felt like... a little more than, I mean, granted, I've never been like cut in the back, so I don't know.
When he's chasing him.
Yeah, she's just like, her faces, I'm like, oh.
They also put like a lot of slow motion takes towards that end of the film.
Yeah, because you're like, is he going to get her or not, kind of thing, and then he slashes her.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody had like a big knife or whatever he has at that point, and just like as you're running away, just like slashes your spine with it, like that probably doesn't feel great.
No.
I don't want to sit here and talk like I know how it feels to be stabbed.
Nick's like,
guys.
why was she being such a freaking drama queen when she got stabbed in the spine?
Well, see, what we don't know, Brian, is Meg, as she made her escape last week from her captors, she was stabbed in the spine
multiple times.
Yeah.
So this is just like she sees it week on film.
I can't talk about that in public. It's still under investigation.
Yeah.
It's all black site stuff. We can't talk.
I actually exist in a giallo film.
But
did you
didn't know anything about it going in, so I feel like my expectations were pretty low, and it's really fun watching.
Yeah. Did you catch some of the winks and nods with the posters around the theater?
No, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't pay close enough attention.
There's like an Italian poster for Army of the Dead. Or Army of Darkness.
Yeah, now that you say that, I do remember.
There was one of those, and then it's featured pretty prominently, but it's on the staircase. There's a poster for Dario Argento's opera.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
No,
that also makes sense, like for the theater name and whatnot, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Those are good nods. They're not too in your face and
No. But I just couldn't not see the opera poster.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's always there. There's other ones around it, but that one's always in focus.
Yeah.
It's always in the background on the staircase.
Yeah. This type of movie is very much this and The Last Drive-In are very much the reason that I have a Shudder subscription, because I would have never found this movie or watched it otherwise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so many, especially foreign films, that I probably would have passed right over.
Right.
If not for Shudder. So this is a great example.
I kind of feel the same way about Netflix.
Yeah.
Like Netflix, they are dog shit for horror, I think, but with the exception of all the foreign horror they bring in. They bring in some good foreign horror.
Yeah.
So,
well, that is The Last Matinee. Strongly suggest taking a look at it. Listen, if you can accompany it with some Bings, do it. You know what?
Do something
Why not?
better for yourself.
Is
Don't do
this,
Bing.
are Bing's like official, movie theater candy for us
No.
now, guys? Like,
Imagine
do we want
working
to try
at
to
a
get that
movie theater
sponsorship?
and having to sweep up all the crumbling Bing shit on the floor. Nobody wants that.
People
Imagine stepping in that. It's never coming out of the bottom of your shoe.
Yeah. Never.
You're
Like,
gonna be
like
traipsing
gravel. Like gravel stuck in your shoe, but it's peanuts and chocolate.
Yeah. So, if you haven't already, go give us a follow on the social media so you can help us pick our topics in the future, and not just for the showdowns. If you have suggestions for mini-shows, send them our way. I know a lot of people send suggestions for the showdown episodes, and then you get thrown into the pool that gets picked up by the wheel, and then it's a whole process. If you got mini-sode suggestions, we might just do them next week.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we decide, like, literally
Like
last
yesterday,
night we decided what we're going to do this
like
time.
yesterday.
Yeah.
We all have our own insane lists
Yeah.
of like things we have watched and things we're about to watch.
Yeah.
And they all differ. So
Yes.
you if you want to throw us something that puts us all on the same page. Yeah.
Yes, we will take it and run with it. Anything else I'm forgetting?
No, tune in next week for Horror Comedy Showdown.
Horror Comedy Showdown. We're watching Gremlins 2.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching
Psycho
Gorman. And we're watching
Hell Baby.
Hell Baby.
Hell
I was going to say
Baby.
Kill Baby.
Kill Baby.
Different movie. There's guaranteed there's a movie called Kill Baby.
Probably.
But otherwise, we'll see you next week. That's all we got for today. So, yeah. Bye. Don't I usually say something different?
I don't know. You say
For
something.
Halloween's Forever Crew, I'm Brian.
Oh, there you go.
I'm Meg.
I'm Asesino como Arby's.
Bye.